how's it going? Hope you guys are doing fabulous. I'm doing well, thank you so much for asking. And I'm here to talk a little bit about why my husband and I have chosen to have our second child at a birthing center. So our first child was born prematurely, and there's no other option other than to have your baby at a hospital, because when a child is born prematurely, of course there are certain complications and things that need to be treated at a hospital. And since the beginning of my second pregnancy, I've been thinking so much about having my baby at a birthing center. But at the hospital, they label you as high risk, and that term just scares you, like high risk, like, oh my God, I'm at risk for something. So I didn't really jump on the opportunity to, seek my prenatal care at a birthing center, because I was just so scared that they would say no, because I have had a premature birth. But it was the complete opposite. I actually went to an orientation, and within a few days they were like, no, you can definitely be a patient here. So it's like I'm in my third trimester now. So my first 2 trimesters I was receiving prenatal care at the hospital, but since then all of my records have been transferred over to the birthing center, and that is where we're going to have our second child. Hopefully she'll stay cooking full term, because you cannot have a baby at a birthing center before 37 weeks. So she's going to stay cooking, and we're going to have our baby at the birthing center. So the first thing that drew me to actually having a baby at a birthing center is the comfortability that you have at a birthing center. So a birthing center is the next best thing to having a home birth. There's a bed, there are end tables, there are lamps, there's an alarm clock, radio. It feels like you're in a bedroom. And at a lot of birthing centers, you actually bring your own linen and things like that, which makes it feel even more at home. And I just love that, because I don't like hospitals at all. I mean, I don't like to be in a hospital bed. I don't like the smell of hospitals. I don't like any of that. So this option seemed like amazing to me. The second thing that drew me to a birthing center is definitely privacy. In a hospital, there will be dozens of women who are having babies at one time on one floor. And the doctor may be spreading his time between you and 6 other patients, and it just can seem sometimes chaotic. And at a birthing center, for the most part, you're the only one there who is laboring. There can be instances where there's another person there, but 2 people is very different from dozens of other women having a baby. And for the most part, it is like a private experience. You have the entire birthing center to yourself. Usually birthing centers, they don't take on a lot of patients, just so that you can get that privacy, and you can just have your midwife to yourself, which I love. The third reason why we decided to have our baby at a birthing center is because I get the option of experiencing a water birth. And I've been wanting to have a water birth. It's just something that, it's not something that's necessary, but it is something that people say is soothing. It is something that people say is relaxing. And I've watched and researched water births, and it just looks so natural, and it does seem as though it can be calming and soothing. Of course, I've never experienced it for myself, but it's not going to harm the baby, and I would definitely like to experience it. I also like the fact that your partner can labor with you in the jacuzzi, and being surrounded by warm water and the jets going, it can be very soothing. So I do want to experience that. And in hospitals, you don't get that option, because water birthing is not something that is done widely in the US, and I definitely want to experience that. The next thing is that when you give birth at a birthing center, it is something that is natural. There's no medication involved. It's already known that if you're giving birth at a birthing center, you have decided to have a natural birth. And that's what I wanted. When I had my son, I didn't get an epidural or anything, but I was given Pitocin, and I don't want that. I just feel like when you walk into a hospital, they're already ready to give you drugs. Like I don't want drugs. I want my body to do its own thing. I want my baby to progress the way that she wants to progress, and I don't want anything forcing her out. I don't want, you know, me to be dazed and confused and high off medicine. I mean, I know some women have to get epidurals and things like that, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but I've chosen to go the natural route. Of course, you know, at a birthing center, if something goes wrong, if your baby is born prematurely before 37 weeks and things like that, you do have to go to a hospital. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to have medication, because of course you can have a natural birth at a hospital, but at a birthing center, no one is pushing it on you. Of course, they do have medication there for like emergencies and things of that nature, and they do have some pain medicine there if you desperately need it, but for the most part, it's a natural experience, and that's what I want for this birth. And then the last thing is just length of stay. You can leave the birthing center with your baby as early as 4 hours after you deliver. And I know that may seem strange to a lot of people, but after your baby is born, they give them all the mandated like shots and things like that that the baby would get in the hospital, and then you go home, and then they will actually send a nurse to your house to give your baby any immunizations that you want your child to have. And I think that is great. Like, you don't have to spend 2 or 3 days like laying in the hospital just waiting, you know, for shots or for the medicine to wear off. So I really appreciate that. You also have to take your baby to the pediatrician within 3 days, I believe, which is not a problem because we already have a pediatrician in mind for our daughter. But I really like that I don't have to like stay for days. We can go home and be in the comfort of our own home. And yeah, that's why we're choosing a birthing center over a hospital this go around. So let me know in the comments below what you guys think. Have you ever given birth at a hospital or a birthing center? What was your experience? And if you're not pregnant, like when you do have a baby, what would you prefer? Let me know in the comments below, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!